Hello and welcome. My name is Gerald Jones with the EpiInfo team, and I'm going to present legal values for EpiInfo 7. Legal values permit EpiInfo users to create drop-down lists and ensure only specific values are entered for a given field. The term legal value is not to be confused in any way with anything legal or having to do with some type of official or governmental authorization. Simply stated, the term legal values, which is an EpiInfo 6 term, is the term for a drop-down list. In EpiInfo 7, there are specific fields for legal values. I drop and drag a legal values field onto the Form Designer canvas. For this example, I'll create a drop-down list for gender. The prompt will be gender, and the field name will be gender. Field attributes can be set for read-only, repeat last, or required. I could just keep the default settings for the font, or I can set the font for both the prompt and the field individually. The font for the prompt is set. The font for the field is set. To enter legal values for the drop-down list, I'll click the ellipse for the data source. An existing table of values could be used. For this example, I'll create a new table. I'll click Create New. I'll enter the values male, female, enter unknown. I will not sort these values. And I'll click OK and OK again. Once created, I'll position the field and verify the values are correctly entered. Now I'll enter a test record. I'll accept the default values for data entry. With the enter program loaded, I'll enter the first name, I'll enter last name, and I'll select gender from the drop-down list. The only acceptable values are male, female, and unknown. And that's it. It's really that easy. In a little time, coding for legal values can be put in place before data entry. Legal values ensure only specific values are entered and data entry is accurate. Code fields. Code fields give EpiInfo users the ability to populate multiple fields based upon one field's value. For this example, I'm creating a form with demographic and address information. I'm going to add to this form county and region information. Since I know the county, I can populate the county code, the region, and the region code. To do this, I drop and drag read-only text fields. I drop and drag a read-only text field for county code. I also place a read-only text field for region, and I place a read-only text field for region code. In EpiInfo 7, there's a specific field for code fields. I drop and drag the codes field onto the Form Designer canvas. The prompt and the field name will be the same. Within the code field sub-menu, I'll deselect address and select the corresponding fields to be coded: county code, region, and region code. Since multiple fields will be populated, I'll need to select the links or association between the fields. To do this, I select the ellipse for the data source. A new table can be created, an existing table can be used, or I can create a new table from an existing table. I select the Create New from Existing and select the appropriate table that lists county and region names and codes. Since the names on the form are the same as the names in the table, I link the county on the form to the county in the table. I do the same for county code, region, and region code. EpiInfo then presents the table to verify that the associations are how you'd like. I'll enlarge the table and scroll through all of the associations. Since I chose Create New Table from an existing table, I can modify directly any cell in the table. I will modify the region for Taylor County and click OK. I will align the fields using EpiInfo's alignment feature as a table. I select the group of fields to be aligned and select Alignment as a Table. I will quickly verify the table for county before data entry, and now enter a test record. With the interprogram loaded, I enter first name, last name, middle initial, and address. I enter county from the drop-down list. Once county is populated, the corresponding county code, region, and region code are populated. Notice the modified county region for Taylor County. That's it. The coded fields reduce the number of fields that needed to be manually entered. And code fields are an efficient way to facilitate data entry. Comment legal fields. Comment legal fields permit both the code and the label to be displayed during data entry while only storing the code in the database. For this workshop evaluation, I can display both the rating number of 1 and its corresponding value of excellent for data entry purposes. In the database, all that is stored is the number for analysis purposes. The reverse can be done also, meaning the value of excellent can be stored in the database while displaying both the value of excellent and the code of 1 during data entry. There are several fields on this form pre-populated with comment legal fields for overall satisfaction, instructor knowledge, etc. Field number 1 is coded with 1 excellent, 2 very good, 3 average, 4 fair, and 5 poor. Field number 2 is coded similarly and uses the same table as field number 1. Field 3 and 4 also use codes from field number 1. I'll add another comment legal field for participation to this form. In EpiInfo, there's a specific field for comment legal fields. I drop and drag the comment legal field from the command bar onto the Form Designer canvas. I enter my prompt, was participation encouraged, and I designate a variable name and then click the ellipse for data source. To create a drop-down list, a new table can be created, an existing table can be used, or I can create a new table from an existing table. I'll select Use Existing. I'll select the table and the field and click OK, and OK again. I've now linked the drop-down list from field number 1 to field number 5. That's it. It was just that easy. I am now referencing the drop-down list from field number 1 with the exact same values for field number 5. I also want to add an additional comment legal field about willingness to recommend. I'll create a drop-down list for this field. I'll drop and drag a comment legal field onto the Form Designer canvas. Again, I type the prompt, willingness to recommend, and I type the variable name, recommend. I click the ellipse for the data source, and for this example, I'll create a new table. I enter the coding for the field, 1 being very willing, 2 willing, 3 somewhat willing, 4 somewhat not willing, and the code and the value are separated by a dash, and 5 not willing, again with the code and the value separated by a dash. With the new table completed, I click OK and OK again. I position the field and verify that the values are entered correctly. Now let's enter a test record. I accept the default settings for data entry. With the enter program loaded, I enter a response for 1. Overall satisfaction. 2. Instructor knowledge. 3. Instructors prepared. Question 4, question 5, and question 6. I'll enter a new record, enter in responses for questions 1 through 6 also. Now, to verify what's being stored in the database, to verify data entry, I can produce a line listing directly from the Enter program. To do this, I navigate to the Line Listing button at the top of the menu. I have options from Interactive, Printable HTML, or MS Excel. From this menu, I'll select Printable HTML, and from this, I see that I have codes entered for each of the responses, even though I had both the response and the label displayed during data entry. Comment Legal gives you the option to display both the code and the label during data entry. I have briefly shown you how to create legal values, code fields, and comment legal fields. These features allow you to save time and ensure the accuracy during data entry. For information, go to cdc.gov/epiinfo.